everybody. So this is a build I actually started about 4 years ago. At the time I was doing a bunch of little micro Star Wars ships. I did an A-Wing and an X-Wing, and I really wanted to do a Y-Wing. And so this was the Y-Wing version I did at the time. Weighs about 40 grams or so, has two little 7mm brushed motors on it. And for control, this one is a little bit weird because it's sort of set up like a canard. So you have the main lifting surface here, and then you have this foreplane here, and I put just a single control surface here. So it was just differential thrust and this canard surface up front. You see there's a little bit of dihedral in it, and it was pretty marginal. It flew around, was reasonably stable, but it was pretty hard to keep in tight and to do kind of sharp turns on. So over the past couple years, I've been doing bigger versions of these same Star Wars ships using twin quad motor setups, and I wanted to give the Y-Wing that same treatment. So I did a 2x scale version, which is here. And this is 2 times the linear scale of the little one. And on this one, I set it up to have the canard surface as well as elevons. So you can see here, you can see them all moving together. So we got, to go up, the canard surface goes down, and the elevons go up. And then for roll, obviously, the elevons actuate on their own. And then we also have differential thrust here, so we got throttle, and then we got yaw. And this is a much more responsive platform. The elevons really help in being able to control the pitch. I think the aspect ratio on this canard is really, really low, so you're not getting a ton of power out of that control surface up front. So being able to help out with the elevons in the back really made a lot of difference. Now, normally with these builds, I'll do just a clean foam version first to see how it flies, and then I'll go and make a second one that has all the details on it. This one flew well enough on the first build that I was stuck with the problem of having to paint the aircraft after it's already assembled. So normally I'll do all the paint work and then glue it all together, and it makes masking a lot easier. But for this one, I had already built the plane and it was already flying reasonably well. So I just went back and masked off all the areas I wanted to keep white, and then just used the Tamiya rattle can. I think this is light Air Force gray. And I went back and did all the little color details here are adhesive back vinyl. So I cut those out. Cut this out and then attach it to the plane, and then all the line work was done by hand with a Sharpie. On previous ones, I'd use the CNC to etch in the panel lines, but for this one, since I'd already built the plane, I just went back and did it by hand. And there's about probably 3 or 4 hours worth of panel line work here. But once you get into it, it's actually, I find it somewhat relaxing. I just used for this a couple little drafting tools, the little architectural shape guide here to do all the little inside shapes, and then I use this flexible ruler to do a lot of the straight lines and the curves. I like this because you can set a curve, put it on one side of the aircraft, and then mirror it to the other side, and you'll have the same curve. I prefer this over the French curve tool, because it allows me a little bit more freedom, and I can do splines. So like for the tubing back here, I could make the shape I want and then mirror it over. As I said before, controls for this are elevons and the canards, and then differential thrusts. These are just 450 size race quad motors on 5-inch clear props. I believe they're HQ props. And the rest is 9-gram servos, one of the little antennaless Spectrum receivers, and then a 3-cell 1300 LiPo pack. You can see some of the details of the bracing on the bottom here. This is the only carbon on the plane, just this cross brace to stiffen the engine nacelles. and then in the back here it's 3mm carbon flat stock to go out to these control vanes in the back. One of the cool things about a Y-wing is that because the center body is supposed to be so kind of industrial looking, you can just leave all the wires out, and it adds to some of the look of the airplane. So I'll post a link to the plans for both the half-size version, which you could set up with the little Hobby King 1.5 gram servos for the elevons as well, and the plans for this bigger guy in the description box below. It's one of the smoother flying of the Star Wars ships I've put together. It doesn't really have any bad habits, and it's a fun little airplane. So as always, if you have any questions about the build or about how to build any ships you might be thinking of, or you have any suggestions for ships you'd like to see me build, leave them below in the comments, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Thanks. Yeah, yeah.